If you're familiar with what's going on in the train sim world scene, you may have seen DTG's season of reveals over the last 3 weeks. Personally, I think it was pointless, and DTG should have just done a normal roadmap for December. Most of what was announced was just new screenshots or more details for upcoming DLC that we already knew about, and coincidentally, both the first and last DLC packs announced in the SOR have proven to be very controversial. What are the odds of that happening? Dovetail seemed to be working harder than ever to hype up a grand reveal for the end of the SOR. But instead of it being a particular route or locomotive that the community has been requesting for ages, like the Class 91 or Amtrak P42DC for example, DTG announced Thomas the Tank Engine, of all things, for Train Sim World 5. I was absolutely dumbfounded when I found out about this, and initially thought this was an early April Fool's joke. I really wish that was the case. Even for a Thomas fan like me, this was such a disappointing way to end the season of reveals malarkey. It feels like a slap in the face, too, especially given just how much DTG were trying to hype up the supposedly grand reveal. Since when has anyone asked for such a niche engine as Thomas to come to TSW? How can DTG expect anyone to see this game as a serious simulator with that little blue terror in it? When people said that they wanted tank engines, let alone any additional steam locomotives, in TSW, I'm sure that Thomas is not what they had in mind. Indeed, him being announced for TSW was the last thing I was expecting. From what I gather, the Blue E2 will be an add-on for the West Somerset Railway. Personally, I would have preferred to see Thomas included with a Season 2 style Elsbridge to Farquhar route instead of him just being an add-on for an existing route. In any case, the add-on will also include his 2 coaches, Annie and Clarabelle, as well as Diesel the Class 08 and some troublesome trucks. Wait, why Diesel of all engines? And not someone like Percy or Edward, or anyone else from Season 1's original 7, for that matter? I know full well that heritage railways all over the world do Day Out with Thomas events, and that they are big crowd pullers / revenue generators, especially if what I've seen at New Zealand's Glenbrook Vintage Railway is anything to go by. But I'm not sure how the concept would work in a video game, especially one that I thought was supposed to be a serious simulator. Even though Thomas the Tank Engine has always been an important part of my life, and although I might, underline might, consider trying out the Thomas add-on for myself when it's released, I still think that this little blue engine is completely unsuitable for a game that I thought was meant to be a serious simulator. But instead of that, TSW seems to be becoming a bigger joke than the Disco Duck song of 1976, and that's really saying something. Oh well, at least the Thomas model in TSW isn't based on that diabolical 2D reboot. Although, in saying that, I much prefer the first 5 seasons of the show over that CGI rubbish. I'm primarily referring to the notorious Sharon Miller and BWBA eras, mind. As far as I'm concerned, the first 4 seasons of the Andrew Brenner era are fine, even though I haven't seen season 20. In any case, if the Thomas add-on for TSW 5 turns out to be successful, perhaps it'll prompt DTG to finally resume Steam development for the game. Wishful thinking, I know. But considering the sheer amount of backlash the add-on is already getting, I can't imagine it'll be all that successful. Anyway, now that this rant is done, I'm off to at least attempt to calm down by listening to some music from the 1980s, such as Telegraph Road from Dire Straits, Life in a Northern Town from Dream Academy, and Turn Up the Radio by Autograph.